Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to Zimbabwe Daily. We are looking at On the Spot, where we take a look at stories that have been making the headlines in our country, in Zimbabwe, and also in our region, in Africa, and world over. And just to take you back, we've had a couple of sad incidences in our country. We've had really sad developments taking place around. We have our children who have been killed. First, it was the other week, we had that very sad development where Tapiwa Makore was murdered, ritual killings. And just a few days ago, we had two children who died following a water tank falling on them. So on the News Daily, Zimbabwe Daily, we covered that story. It's really sad developments that have taken place from wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining us on Zimbabwe Daily. We appreciate your presence. We appreciate your being here. And we know you have seen a lot of issues happening in your areas where you're coming from. Feel free to come through on this platform and share with us some of the areas of concern. What is it that have been keeping you going? What has been your areas of concern? We also have a lot of issues to look forward to in the coming week as we engage as a country and see how we grow. I want to start off with sad news. This week, we lost the former cabinet minister and ambassador to Australia, Florence Chitauro. She was suffering from a stroke and she died this week. Those are some of the things that have been happening. I know a lot of you have come through with your concerns and with a lot of issues as to what has happened, but all the same, we never celebrate people's death. This week again, we saw the Transform Zimbabwe leader, Mr. Jacob Ngaruvume, coming out, urging parents to withdraw children from school with immediate effect. Mr. Ngaruvume spoke after taking a tour of most schools in different areas, and he said that there are no teachers except for the headmaster, the deputy headmaster, and reception staff. I don't know where you are. What is the situation? What is the situation right now in relation to the children in schools? We go on. The city of Harare received 400 face shields from the Zimbabwe National COVID-19 Action Trust to cater for emergency services. That includes nurses, the ambulance technicians, the fire brigade, and these were distributed to the relevant stakeholders yesterday. We also had a Deming report coming through in the city of Harare. This internal investigations report by the city of Harare alleged that the city council town clerk, Osai Chisango, fraudulently allocated 14 residential stands on land designated to be in open space. The investigation report dated 7 October 2020 shows that the land was allocated to 14 employees of Accor Chemicals through one land baron called Gertrude Dumba. She was using a company called Bluff Hope Investments to make the transactions. In other news, the High Court acquitted Tonderai Masanga, who was arrested and sentenced to 36 months in prison in connection with the 2019 fuel price hike riots. He was, together with 13 others, accused of committing public violence during the January 2019 protests. Justices Benjamin Chikore and Phil Damuzofa overturned his conviction after he spent 22 months in prison. Right, in Lupane, we had teachers reportedly leaving the school due to poor facilities. a villager in the area, speaking during a community meeting held at Chumara area, said teachers who were deployed to the school were not showing up because of poor infrastructure. So that is some of the sad state that our nation finds ourselves. Speaking of teachers, citizens were egged by government's latest decision to pay civil servants $500 equivalent upon death. We look at some of the comments that came through as some of you expressed your deep frustrations at government's insensitivity to the plight of civil servants. The government spokesperson, Mr. Nick Mangwana, announced that civil servants will be receiving $500 as a funeral assistance allowance when they pass on, and that this money would be paid to a surviving spouse, adult children, or agreed dependent. Oh, you were so angry as citizens because you came through labeling this as a selfish and naive approach from the government. The Progressive Teachers Union of Zimbabwe urged the government to give its workers a living wage and let them decide how to use it upon death. We had the MDC Alliance spokesperson, Fadzai Mahere, criticizing this decision, saying that government should improve the conditions of its workers, and saying that this improvement has to be done now. So you accept that salaries of civil servants should be pegged in USD. If you can pay them $500 in death, why pay them a sickly $50 in life? Why not improve their conditions of service now so they can pay for a funeral policy of their choice? Hashtag fight for livelihoods. So salary negotiations between government and its workers have so far been futile, with the former refusing to make significant upward reviews to the inflation-ravaged salaries. So that has been one of the trending issues, as people saying civil servants are smiling all the way to their grave. What a sad development, but all the same, I'm sure the government is quite excited about this kind of reform program that they feel they've taken for the workers. We take a look at issues happening in Nigeria. Let's just go over our borders a little bit and see what has been happening in Nigeria as turmoil rages in the country. As you can see, that bloodied flag following shots fired at protesters at the toll gate. They crying to say there must be an end to SARS, which is a special government unit put in place to investigate the issues around robberies. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari spoke to the nation about the unrest that gripped the country in recent days, without making mention of the deadly shooting of peaceful protesters that prompted international outrage. I'm sure if you're following the Nigerian demonstrations, there was a lot happening, a lot of hashtags on Twitter. I mean, Twitter was alive as people spoke out against the brutality that has been taking place there. So again, Al Jazeera made that report. Buhari did not address the deadly shooting of peaceful protesters that prompted international outrage. He said, "I would like to appeal to protesters to not and take advantage of the various well-thought-out initiatives of his administration designed to make their lives better and more meaningful, and resist the temptation of being used by some subversive elements to cause chaos with the aim of truncating our nascent democracy." That speaking, he said, "For you to do otherwise will amount to undermining national security, law and order. Under no circumstances would this be tolerated. Sounds too familiar, right? Yes, so this is what is happening in Nigeria as chaos continues. We hear that gun firing out in the Ikoyi neighborhood of Nigeria's Lagos on Thursday, and we continue to monitor what is happening in Nigeria. I mean, just as the whole of the world when they came out with the hashtag Zimbabwean Lives Matter, right now focus has been turned to Nigeria with the end SARS now. So that has been an issue that came out this week in our news. We also take a look at some of the president issued the State of the Nation address in which he was addressing a number of issues. Well, we've been assured that a brighter future awaits. However, it depends on all of us. So we read that story in the Daily News. Says President Emerson Mnangagwa made an impassioned call to all Zimbabweans to difference and work together to build the country. The 70-year-old ZANU-PF leader proposed a raft of new legal instruments to deal with Zimbabwe's detractors and stem child abuse. Right, so all this comes as Zimbabwe is beginning to enjoy relative economic stability following the recent implementation of a basket of measures, including the introduction of the foreign currency auction system in June, which has reined in the once rampant forex power market. So we wait to see. We wait to see how things will turn out for our nation. We definitely need a brighter future. We definitely need better days ahead of us. Not too sure if we have the correct mechanisms in place, but all the same, Zimbabweans remain hopeful. An interesting story, sad maybe, coming in from the Herald, the Kariba mayor removed from vulnerable list. Kariba Masendu. Right, so the mayor was on the beneficiaries list for people who are vulnerable. So WFP got wind of the development through anonymous calls to their toll-free hotline, prompting investigations and removal of the names. The matter has been forwarded to government through the Ministry of Public Service, Labor and Social Welfare for further action. In a statement issued by the Zimbabwe Country Director, WFP Country Director and Representative, Ms. Francesca Edelman, said fraud would not be tolerated. The World Food Programme is aware of media reports that 2 officials in Kariba were incorrectly included on a list of people they said to be eligible for World Food Programme food assistance. The prompt investigation of both allegations resulted in the 2 officials being removed from our list. The 2 cases have been referred to the Ministry of Public Service and Social Welfare for further action. Disbursements have not yet started in the affected wards, although those in other wards have already started withdrawing their money via electronic money transfer platform Mokoro.com. So the World Food Programme has been assisting vulnerable families during the COVID-19 pandemic by giving cash remittances so that the families would be able to assist themselves in this difficult time. And so we hear that the mayor of Kariba was also on that list, and that is Mayor George Masendo. Will continue to follow through on those issues. Right. The Herald also covered the story that I mentioned at the beginning, the issue of the water tank that collapsed in Chitungwiza, killing 2 children. It's a very sad development that took place as 9-year-old Trinity Sangweme and 1 year 6 months old Colleen Kamonera perished. Also, Trinity's brother Tulani, who is 2 years old, has a broken leg and is admitted at the Chitungwiza General Hospital. So it is such a sad time. We had a chat with we had a conversation with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Chitungwiza North, and he had this to say.
Yes, good afternoon. Yesterday, Wednesday, 21 October, disaster struck in Unity A, where a tank stand with a 5,000 water liter tank, which was poorly installed, fell on kids, resulting in the deaths of 2 kids, and the third is admitted at Chitungwiza Hospital. One of the kids who passed away was a very young girl, Colleen Kamonera, aged 1.5 years, and she stayed at number 1418 Unity A, and her body will be ferried to Mudzi today for burial tomorrow, Friday, 23 October, at Benson Mine. And the second deceased was also a young girl named Trinity Sangweme, who was doing a grade 4, and she is sister to the injured boy called Tulani, who suffered a fractured leg. Trinity's body will be ferried to Marange today, 22 October 2020. Mourners are currently gathered at 1495 Unity A. So as the local MP, we are engaging the local authorities and trying to make sure that we assist on the burial arrangements and in ferrying the people. And we also see what we can do to ensure that the installation of tanks around Chitungwiza is done according to the law.
All right, another interesting story that
unfortunately
I think you dropped. Yes, you had dropped there for a minute, Yvonne. So just wanted
hi.
Yes, hi. How are you doing? I just wanted maybe to come to your rescue when I think we'd lost the signal, but we are back online. Yes, please go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much. So we do have a serious problem and challenge in Chitungwiza. So there definitely needs to be measures put in place. The Harare Community Water Alliance came through calling for government to ensure that people are provided with water urgently so that residents don't install tanks and, and the tanks are not installed properly, leading to such tragic incidences. So very sad development in our areas in Chitungwiza there. Right now, as we go into the new week, we are confronted with the latest calls, the anti-sanctions calls. So there is a demonstration that is happening on the 25th of October to call for an end to sanctions. And we have seen a number of people coming through, commenting and calling for an end to sanctions. But we've also had a number of people coming through and questioning if sanctions will bring reforms to our country. That is Jealousy Mawarire, the National Patriotic Front spokesperson. He took to his Twitter account to raise questions about the impact of the removal of sanctions on the ordinary people, claiming that if anyone can show that this action will lead to reforms from the current government, then he will also support the cause. In his 13 thread tweet, he said, "I've seen a lot of messages from junta apologists in Zimbabwe calling for the removal of sanctions. The most interesting thing is the insinuation that if these targeted sanctions are removed off the necks of officials running the military regime here, immediately Zimbabwe will be a paradise." Fox, do you think if those sanctions are removed, Zimbabweans will be free to demonstrate without the leaders of Zimbabwe sending soldiers to murder them with AK-47s? Do we believe if sanctions are removed, the looting of our diamonds, gold, platinum, chrome will stop? Are we foolishly optimistic that the moment sanctions are removed, electoral theft will stop? Do Zimbabweans believe after removal of sanctions, ZBC will become a truly public broadcaster and afford every Zimbabwean a voice? Are we so gullible to believe that the day sanctions are removed, no one will ever be arrested for undermining the authority of the president? Do we believe on the day sanctions are removed, if you get arrested and you're an opposition politician, you won't be denied bail for 40 days until some high court judge releases you and cheats that the magistrate for not applying themselves on the law? Are we sure on the day sanctions are removed, all abductions, even of university students, will cease? Tell me, fellow Zimbabweans, do you believe once sanctions are removed, looting of COVID-19 funds will stop? So he raises interesting questions in his Twitter thread. And the last thread, he says, the issues I've listed above and many more that others are raising will automatically go away after sanctions are lifted. Then and only then will you have my voice on the issue of sanctions removal. Social media has also been awash with a lot of people coming through in support. Again, others totally against the whole idea of spending the day calling for the removal of sanctions. In fact, there is a counter flyer that has been doing rounds to the effect that the day should be turned into an anti-corruption day rather than an anti-sanctions day. So we continue to monitor the developments in our country to see how things will be going. This is Zimbabwe Daily. We continue to bring you information that you need. So yes, we have covered the story of the United States Embassy of Harare that has said that they have assisted Zimbabweans to the tops of $3.5 billion. However, who can account for this 3.5 billion? I'm not exactly sure, unless they were sending it the support directly to the people. So the question by the United States Embassy in Harare is, if the sanctions are so effective to stop Zimbabwe from developing and from growing, then how come support to the tune of 3.5 billion has been given to Zimbabwe? What exactly is the correct status of the sanctions issue? Are these targeted sanctions? Are these sanctions on the nation? We continue to watch those let's continue to follow the developments in Zimbabwe. And before I go to end this bulletin, I just want to play this song coming from an up and coming musician. He is a talented musician, and we are looking forward to the video, which they are currently in studio working on. And this is the song Anzimono Mono. So we want to take a look at that song, and please be blessed by it. Think about yourself as you listen to this song. Kanekataronemi tinotenda Mwari shakanaka mwaka uno. God bless you and see you next time.
Iwe sawira naiwambomira ipapo mboterera iwe naiwe sawi iwe sawira naiwambomira ipapo mboterera iwe jeupi munhu asingakanganise iwe jeupi munhu anogona zvese jeupi munhu asingakanganise iwe jeupi munhu anogona zvese oyo zidanda musiso swero tumbura kadikidiki msore mumwewewe oyo zidanda musiso swero tumbura kadikidiki msore mumwewewe. Iwe sawira daiwambomira ipapo mboterera iwe naiwe sawi iwe sawira daiwambomira ipapo mboterera iwe ko iye nyakusiga vanhu akasiga munhu nemufananidzo wemuka ipi iye nyakusiga vanhu akasiga munhu nemufananidzo wemuka ipi oyo zidanda musiso swero tumbura kadikidiki msore mumwewewe oyo zidanda musiso swero tumbura kadikidiki msore mumwewewe munanodzimuka munhu ikoye munanodzimuka anenge muka munhu ikoye